Hey everyone, and welcome to Convos with Cunningham. I am Jeff Cunningham, and my convo today will be with Cape County Commissioner Charlie Herbst. Charlie, thanks for coming in today.
Thank you for the invitation today, Jeff.
Yeah, you bet. So how long have you been a commissioner now in Cape County?
I took office on January 1st, 2013.
So quite a while.
In my fourth term,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. Obviously, you enjoy it. Let me ask you about that in just a second. For those who don't know, Charlie is a bluegrass aficionado, right?
Yes, do some bluegrass promotion in the area.
How'd you get started with that?
One of those kind of things that as a family we never took really long vacations, but my mom and dad took me to state parks all over southeast Missouri to bluegrass concerts and festivals on the weekends.
And you still do that, don't you?
Yes, I still do, yeah.
What's your instrument?
So my instrument of choice is a mandolin. I'm the best player in my basement.
Oh, nice. Is there anybody else in your basement?
Just me. I'm the best.
Well, that works out, though.
Try to play with those, and it's one of those kind of things we all wish we just started to learn how to play a musical instrument or some other hobby at a younger age. But it's just great.
Yeah, I love. It reminds me gospel bluegrass specifically. When I was a kid, my dad, we're from Oklahoma, so. And every Sunday morning before church, there'd be some gospel
Bob
bluegrass.
Wills and that swing music.
Yeah, it was good stuff. So you said you're in your fourth term.
Yes.
What is it about being a county commissioner that has made you want to keep doing it this long?
I've always been, my whole family has been involved in service, and you can kind of go back through some of the history of Cape Girardeau, and some of my relatives were involved in Cape Girardeau City at different times. And my Uncle Bob was in Cape City Council for 25 years himself. And so I think when I decided to be on the city council, it was because of that legacy he had there, because I knew how much he loved this city, and it's a good way to jump in. So I tell folks, it's kind of easy to sit back and see things and multimedia and all the different ways we can get our information now, and gripe about it, but not do something about it. And so I care about the community, and that's what got me interested. I was a police officer of City Cape First for 10 years, and again, just that service to my community.
Yeah. So, what are some of the in your tenure so far with other commissioners? Obviously, what are some of the projects you're most proud of that you guys have been able to get through?
Well,
get done?
I'll tell you, it's amazing when you look back at what we've been able to accomplish since 2013. We're very fortunate in this county that all of our elected officials get along well together, and that's very important to do that, because it takes every office holder. Even though they all are independent of each other, it still takes that coordination to do projects. And part of our responsibility as commissioners is to provide a balanced budget each year. And as we know that running our own businesses and running our farms, running our households, expenses go up, and we have to figure out how to adjust our revenues to meet our expenses from that. And when you become a county official, elected official, you're sworn to, uphold the statutes of the state of Missouri and provide a good and sufficient budget for the office holders and for the courts. And so that's one thing that we looked at earlier, and put together a great plan in 2013 of a comprehensive plan. And it's amazing to sit here today and say that we accomplished those 5 points on our comprehensive plan from 2013, and it's all because we had the support of the voters to pass the necessary taxes to do those projects.
I know one of the things that I know that you are a fan of, or you have a lot of knowledge about the Cape County Courthouse, because you took me on a tour, and it was really fascinating, honestly, to see the work that's been done and the improvements that have been made. And the courthouse looks great. We went up into the bell tower there, and I ended up doing another story with the people who fixed the clock.
Yes. So passionate about that clock.
Yeah. Well, it's really cool. It's really interesting. I remember I said to you, I said, so who sets the clock? And you said, well, there's a couple, and they happen to be from Cape, actually.
Yeah.
And that's what they do. They go around to county courthouses mostly, and they work on the clocks. But are you happy with how the courthouse turned out?
Yeah. So that again, that project wouldn't have happened without the voters and passing a use tax in 2015 and collecting the internet sales tax from that. And when we passed that and the voters approved that, it was for the building of a new courthouse, which is the 2020 courthouse, and maintenance thereof. And so we're fortunate that that fund has generated enough funds that we can then reinvest it in some other projects. So we moved out of the 1908 courthouse and it was empty for nearly 5 years. And we all know what happens to a building that's empty. It starts to deteriorate. It probably deteriorated more in those 5 years of being empty than it did collectively in a lot of years from that. And so that started out to be a $2 million project to a $4 million to a $6 million, and obviously wound up being a $9.8 million project that we were able to kind of do in stages to protect that building.
Why do you think that was important to protect that historic courthouse?
You know, there was a lot of emotion. I mean, that building has been there. That building has been there since 1908. But it's been a courthouse at the county seat in Jackson before the state of Missouri was the state of Missouri when it was a territory that was there. And that is something that I think no matter where you go, anywhere USA, any county in Missouri or our surrounding states in the heartland, that people value their courthouse. They may not like their government or paying taxes or different things, but by golly, that courthouse is there. And we had 3 different engineers look at that building in about a 15-year span to make sure it was worth investing the money into that building. And all 3 said, yes, it's solid. So bless the builders back in 1908 when they built that building to reinvest.
I know you give a lot of credit to the voters passing different taxes and the like. Let's talk a little bit about this latest one that passed recently, which is the property tax freeze. At least one of them passed, right?
They both did.
I thought one of them didn't, but I'm sorry.
So the Senate Bill 190, which is the homestead, there's all kinds of nomenclature for it, a freeze, a tax credit.
So let's start with the one that was for seniors. I knew that one passed.
Yes. So that's Senate Bill 190, and there was also a House Bill 756 that kind of amended it a little bit to kind of clean up some of the legislation in it. But the first was Senate Bill 190. And so what that does is either the county commission could approve that or put it out for a vote, or the voters could do an initiative petition to get it on the ballot. We chose not to put it on at the onset because there was some unconstitutionality feelings about it from different folks. And so when the citizens put it on, that's what we did. They asked us to put it on, so we did, and it did pass. From that. And so that provides a base year of 2024 your homestead that you live in. You don't rent, you don't lease, but you actually live in your home. It'll make a base year of 2024 for your real estate property taxes.
And that's for everyone now?
So that bill is for age 62 and over.
Okay. See, I thought the other one.
So then, continuing with that, then the second part is their Senate Bill 3, and that was passed last summer as part of on the stadium funding that the state of Missouri did in a special session. And what Senate Bill 3 did is it named some counties that it would freeze their property tax at 0%. It had some counties that was no more than 5%, which is still could be 0 to 5. And then there were some counties that weren't even named. They just go on and do business as usual from that. So it was very interesting. So the legislator, when it was passed and signed by the governor, said that we shall have an election by April of 2026, which we did. And that one passed also. That is a blanket tax credit for all homeowners in the county.
So are you guys concerned about, I know we talked about this before, we had the whole commission in here, but it sounds great, and I'm sure it is great for a lot of folks. Are we worried about loss of revenue and
I think over time, I think once it's implemented and folks we'll have a portal online soon that residents or homestead owners can log into for that. And if all goes well with the marrying of the online portal and transferring that to our software programs, we may be able to implement it this year. Both our ordinances said that the county had till 2027 to have this done, because this is a short window. The assessor has to have the tax books closed by June 30th, and that's just right around the corner from that. And so yes, the first couple years, this is just my own crystal ball looking at this. The first couple years, I don't think they'll notice the decrease in the property tax to the taxing entities, but I think after 3 to 5 years, It just depends on, will people stay in their homes longer because their real estate tax has been frozen at a 2024 level.
For those who don't know, what kind of things are going to be affected by the freeze in revenue?
Okay, so kind of clarify is that it does not freeze debt service. So if a school district has a debt service where they're paying off bonds that their voters voted to approve those, it doesn't, because that makes sense, right? If you vote to pay off some bonds, you can't reduce that amount of money to pay off those bonds from that. And then also the blind pension fund, which is part of the state of Missouri's property tax that they assess from that. And so other services, there are 37 taxing entities in the county of Cape Girardeau, not including 7 fire districts, library districts, the senior services tax, mental health tax, property tax, development disabled tax, and school districts, of course, are the biggest recipients of that property tax.
We had a story yesterday about how the local firefighters union, I'm sure you know this, entered into an agreement, contract with the city of Jackson, and that union represents the whole county, Cape firefighters too.
Yes.
What do you think about that? What do you think about that? And then, do you have an opinion about the fact that the Cape firefighters, or the same union, hasn't been able to enter an agreement with the city of Cape so far?
So not being directly involved in that, it's hard
Yeah.
to give any kind of opinion either way.
I'm throwing that out because it's a county thing.
Yeah, it's, so it's all in the county, and it's very interesting. What happens in the city of Cape Girardeau within their charter, that's, for a better term, that's their sandbox. What happens inside the city of Jackson with their employees is kind of their sandbox, and then the county has kind of the whole out county
Right.
of
Okay.
that area.
Fair enough.
And so it's, we don't have any direct employees with that or any funding to warrant some input.
Right, sure.
Yeah.
That makes sense. All right, so let's talk about some of the projects in the county. Cape County Park North, there's some construction going on there, a new pavilion, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
How's that going, and what do you predict will happen there?
So we're very fortunate, again, to have a very benevolent community. And so there's always, the last few years, been talk about, we have our Veterans Plaza where the wall is, and we've got our Freedom Rock, and we have our flag that's there, and then the Wall of Honor. We always needed some type of pavilion for those veterans events. We put up flags. It's always rainy and cold on Veterans Day, no matter what, how you plan. And so it's in the Avenue of Flags, Cape Girardeau VFW, some private individuals. We were able to building a 4,000 square foot pavilion, biggest picnic pavilion that I know of between St. Louis and Memphis. From that, which it'll also have multimedia in that, have an outdoor kitchen. We've got an organization that has put together some funding to put in an old hickory pit smoker.
Wow.
At that location, so we're putting an outdoor kitchen in the parking lot, and then also restaurant facilities up there. When we have events there 4 or 5 times a year, it is a problem when there's no restroom facilities in that area, and being handicapped area. And that area had different levels, so we've leveled it all out now. It's all ADA compliant, and just wonderful. So that's all through private donations for that project, which is great.
That is cool.
So combined with that, then we were able to write a grant for a transportation grant for sidewalks within the park, and so it connects to the trail. The trail the city of Cape has that comes up through the woods, the conservation department there, and so we have a sidewalk that connects there, as folks have noticed, along the drive to the Avenue of Flags, that will ultimately connect all the way back to Melena's Playground, which that we hope Cape Special Road District and or the city will partner with us in to have that go all the way to the Sportsplex.
Oh, very cool.
From that area. And so what that does now is putting the flags out, and I can't quote the number of flags now, but I believe it's around 1,800 flags. It's a lot of flags.
I don't know either. Yeah, it's a lot.
And so now we have sidewalks, and I'm sure we'll outgrow that too, with the flag holders already in the concrete all the way around the perimeter of the park. Then the second part of that is that folks I know they've noticed, because I've gotten phone calls about the trees disappearing, is we got a grant, land soil conservation grant that's through the federal government but funneled through the state of Missouri Department of Natural Resources. We're able to put in 2 brand new pavilions, a large playground, another restroom facility, and a parking lot to hold almost 200 cars along the North County Park.
So that could be a real draw for
Huge.
people who want to have family reunions or whatever. Do they rent it, or do they
Yes.
just?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, all our pavilions are rentable, and there is a period during the summer that we're at 100% rental on all of our pavilions all year long.
You mentioned Melena's Playground, which of course is close to my
Yes.
heart. I would be remiss if I didn't say that when Andrea and I started raising money for that, not knowing anything what we were doing, the county commission, and I'm getting my timeline mixed up. I can't remember if you were on it at that point.
No, that would have been Commissioner Buck, Jay Purcell, and Commissioner Gerald Jones, I
Well,
believe, that time frame.
The commission helped us out. It was the kind of the catalyst that got things going. So anyway, I just wanted to mention
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
So
That's been a lot of our strength of our parks. Our park budget is actually a little south of $600,000. And if you think about that, that's really not a lot of money. But our staff.
yeah,
can
Brian
do
Sander and the guys out there,
anything.
they do a
know
great
how to
job.
leverage. When they do get donations for projects, people trust them and know it's going to be invested.
Yeah. Well, on a personal note, it's always great. I was driving by today and I saw the playground was packed and school buses out there. We love
School
it.
bus time.
Yeah. Well, that's what we want. We occasionally will have someone say, "Hey, my granddaughter or my son loves going out there." And that's
What a draw. There
that's
were
awesome.
4 buses from Sykeston there today.
Oh, is that what it was? Yeah.
they come up
Sometimes I'll
and
pull around in there and
tour.
just kind of cruise by and see what's going on. But anyway, continuing on with some of the projects, I've got someone here at the station who's an avid cyclist. Wanted me to ask you about the bike trail. Is that still going on, and is it going to, and where is it going to go eventually?
So the trail that the sidewalk that we put through the park.
Yeah.
I kind of explained that is to connect. In the future, I'd love to be able to have that be a paved surface. Right now, people have to push their bikes up the hill when they come through the conservation.
Yeah.
Through that area. So that would be great to connect it some way. We do own property that goes all the way down to Linwood Baptist Church. And so there may be a way to kind of have a partnership from that and then connect again over to the Sportsplex. I believe the jury development has put in some sidewalks already that lead up to the Sportsplex there. And then the Southeast Missouri Metropolitan Planning Organization, which is a transportation planning organization made up of City Cape, City Jackson, the county, Capesville Road District, and actually a little bit of Illinois, are doing a feasibility study of how to get across the interstate with the bike trail.
Oh, yeah.
To connect the city of
Interesting.
Jackson and the city of Cape.
Wow, that'd be cool.
Because they've really done a good job in Jackson
Yeah.
over there. Ronnie Bollinger has to put that together.
We've done a lot of stories here at KFS about data centers and the pros and cons, I guess. There's
Yeah.
You have an opinion about that? I don't know of anyone that's about to pop up in Cape County unless you.
No, I haven't either. There's been no contact at all.
But there
from
are
that.
several that are popping up in other places in Missouri, and
It is inevitable. Sure. I mean, we're a hub here in this area with our manufacturing and our university and our hospitals, and there's a vibrant economy here. There's no doubt about it. And so, lots of agricultural land also. And so, back in the 90s, the county did have some planning and zoning level of it, and the voters voted it down. In the early 2000s, it came back up before the commission again and put it up for a vote, and the citizens overwhelmingly voted down planning and zoning. And so I don't know about it in the 90s, but I know in the 2000s that initiative wasn't building inspections and somebody's going to come inspect your home or your barn, those kind of things like that. It was just merely planning and zoning and identifying industrial areas, manufacturing and agricultural in the county, so that as someone wanted to come in and do something that wasn't similar to what is already there, that a group then, planning and zoning commission appointed by the commission, I would presume then would review that and see if that would match up.
Gotcha. I
from
know
that.
that's
And
putting you on the spot a little bit on a
It's-
hypothetical, but
yeah, it is a hypothetical. I'll use a good example that's happening right now is the solar fields at Delta. Down there at the roundabout on Highway 25. And that that grew from a few acres to a few hundred acres in that property down there. And we had individuals come to the county commission meetings and were upset that we were allowing farmland to disappear. And it's a double-edged sword in terms of folks have told us twice in the last 2 decades that they don't want anybody controlling what they do with their land. And so if they choose to take their rentable farmland that's
make money off of it,
productive farmland for a known number of a lease for 20 years or 23 years or whatever that may be on that. And so same thing with data centers or big distribution centers or anything that comes in, or large manufacturing facilities that are in the north part of our county that are already existing, and they want to add on. We'd love for them to add on 100,000 square feet, right, onto their property, and that might mean taking some farmland to enhance their production of what they're selling and their products and those kind of things. And so,
when you say something like that is inevitable, what's your opinion as far as what you do to to make it or try it? You're not going to please everybody. That. No. Do you have any ideas that you would toss out as to how you could try to mitigate some of the criticism that people have on these data centers?
Yeah, good question. Very good question. And so I'm going to use the solar farm, for example, again, is that came in, and I have to say that the Nextera, the group that's putting in the solar field there, very proactive, come to town. They had meetings with landowners and neighbors before they ever come to visit with us. They voluntarily offered to have us sign a road use agreement with them. That, obviously those big trucks coming in on a county road that's designed for minimal traffic during the day, or some agricultural equipment now is going to have heavy trucks on it all day long. And so they're going to come back and sign agreement with us, goodwill agreement. They'll put the roads back in the same condition or better. From that, and also our bridges and those type things. And so it's been done in other counties around the state. It's kind of how we got the idea. We belong to the Missouri Association of Counties, so counties share information. There is a statute that allows Chapter 100 that allows a government entity, whether it's the city of Cape Girardeau, which has done a similar project with them all, or the county can do a project. And we did a Chapter 100 with the solar company, where by statute and on paper we actually own that property, own the equipment's there and the property there on paper, on the lease, although we're not liable for anything. What that Chapter 100 is to do is with solar panels, if a private entity owns the solar panels, then they can be taxed from that. If they would sell those to a regulated utility by the Public Service Commission, then there's no tax revenue from those objects. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
From that, and so you might get it for a couple of years, and they sell it off, and then it goes away.
And you're thinking of similar things with data centers?
So I am assuming that probably there's counties or entities. I mean, this isn't just in our area. Up in the Festus area, Jefferson County, and Franklin, Washington County. There's been a lot of activity around the state, but other states from that, and folks would have the perception that you're giving in. That in the case of the solar panel farm, is for 23 years that they have to pay what's called payment in lieu of taxes. And so the fire district and the school districts and other taxing entities will get a payment that was nearly what their property tax would be. So if they would sell that property and turn that over to a regulated company from Public Service Commission, ordinarily that revenue would just go away. And again, it's not there. But this way it still captures that property tax.
Gotcha.
I know that was a lot of words.
No, that's okay. It's a complicated issue. I know it's not an easy one. Again, and it's a hypothetical.
Folks, thought we were giving in for that, but we really weren't. We're just trying to be a creative way to hold the fire districts and the other taxing districts, and particularly the Delta School District, kind of hold harmless on that
I guess
they're not going to lose revenue.
Right. I was more just, and you answered it very well, but I just was curious if it was even on your radar.
Yeah, nothing's on the radar at this time.
Gotcha.
We don't know.
But you've thought about it, so you've got some things.
Yeah, that's part of our job as elected official, is not just to come in, have a meeting and leave and go do something else. It's, kind of globally looking at what's happening next year. And
So I talked to a friend who wanted me to ask you this. I think it's okay, but he said he and some other friends, you might be surprised I have more than one friend, but they are looking to buy land in Cape County for investment, hunting, whatever. And as you know, the land in Cape is expensive, and it's less expensive in some of the surrounding counties like Bullinger or Perry or others. I guess my first question is, why is the land in Cape so expensive? Is it something beyond the proximity to Cape and Jackson?
I think because there is no planning and zoning, might have something to do with that folks know, hey, I'm going to invest, buy this land and invest and build whatever I want to here to have that. But, I think that's just kind of a side. Look at the hub we are. Look at what we have for our retail in our hospitals and the university and different things that's here from that area. And we do have water districts and we have sewer districts in the county. And so that's very important, right? If you buy some property, even if it's for hunting or whatever it's for, you like a little electric and a little water and maybe some sewer with that, because there's a lot of great
cabin or something.
Yeah, there's a lot of great fertile land in Cape Girardeau County, but there's also a lot of rock too. The bluffs along the river and those areas that you're not able to put a septic field in, perhaps from that. And so,
is it concern you that people might opt to go to another county to invest their money and not in Cape County, or it's just kind of the market?
I think it's just the market and demand, right? Folks want to be here, so by golly, if I'm going to sell my land, I'm going to get my money for it. And,
Gotcha.
and I don't, I can't quote you exactly on this number, but I believe there were over 400 new homes built in the county last year.
Yeah, it seems like they're popping up all over the place.
Folks talk about the economy and different things and CPI, and I don't know why I wouldn't say been invisible to a lot of that, but we have.
So, Presiding Commissioner Clint Tracy is not going to be the presiding commissioner going forward. You have decided that you're going to run for presiding commissioner. I didn't realize this until recently, but that's you're on the commission, you're a commissioner now,
Yes.
and then you have to run for presiding commissioner as well. So
Yes.
I don't know what I thought. I guess I thought maybe you guys got together and powwowed and decided, but that's not the case. It's an election that's coming up.
Yep.
So why do you want to be presiding commissioner?
We, again, as I mentioned earlier in the podcast, is we're very fortunate all of our elected officials get along very well from that. What's unique about the commissioner office is there's three of us. If you have an elected official that they're the only elected official, then they make their decisions and run their office. But in our case, there's three of us, and so there's three of us to manage the building and grounds and the park system and IT. And provide the courts their budget and a place to hold court and those kind of things like that. So there's a lot of collaboration that happens there. The presiding commissioner is elected by the county as a whole. The two associates are elected by two districts that are divided up by population. And historically, District 2 has been the city of Cape Girardeau mostly because that's where a lot of the population is, and then District 1 is everything outside of that. County's about 82,000, city of Cape Girardeau is about 42,000, so the city of Cape Girardeau is my area that I'm elected from, and then Mr. Downey is elected in the out county, but the presiding commissioner is elected as a whole. Again, we each get one vote, so we're not each other's boss, but the presiding commissioner is still the recognized lead, I guess, administrative executive officer of the county. Again, the presiding commissioner is not the sheriff's boss or the coroner's boss or the recorder or the treasurer, collector. I'm going to leave somebody out, naming all the...
We get it.
The offices. There's 13 elected officials, public administrator, and prosecuting attorney. I'll get them all covered from that. However, they still are, they run the meetings. The presiding commissioner is the one who's the chief executive officer in the times of if an emergency is declared. We're a first-class county, so our emergency management director, Sam Herndon, and currently Clint Tracy's presiding commissioner. We have a big storm on Monday that Grant's been talking about coming up, and
Hopefully not, but
that
yes.
model's changing
Yeah.
from that, and there would be state of emergency that such. Then Delta tornado that happened a year ago is we declared that emergency, and so that gives the presiding commissioner and the emergency management director the authority by statute to act and do what they need to do in those cases. The presiding commissioner also is the person who signs all contracts and agreements across the board for all the offices.
So you've told us what he does, but why do you want to do it?
So here's why I want to do it. I think it's a great opportunity. Being on the city council, I was the mayor pro tem for a while, but I wasn't the mayor. I'm on the associate commissioner. I've been associate commissioner now for 14 years, and I've run some meetings when needed to be in the presiding commissioner's absence, which that kind of how that works. But I believe I'm ready to be the face and the leader for Cape Girardeau County, not just on the local level, but on a state level.
What are that election, by the way, is August 4th, for those who may not know. What are some of your goals if you get elected? Do you have ideas that you've been tossing around that you'd like to get done?
And some
Run
of
us
these,
through some of those.
again, I've been very fortunate to work with 2 other commissioners that we collectively
Sure.
have the same interest in mind. We are efficient, but government is not efficient, and it's set up that way because of checks and balances to do. We've had a huge focus this last 13, 14 years on the infrastructure of this county. We have the new jail addition that added 358 beds, and yesterday we already maxed it out. There were 370 people in the jail from that. Now we get the other part renovated, we'll be able to put another 175 beds into that. So that's where we've been focused on a lot of those. And so as presiding commissioner, what I'd like to focus on, if I get elected and currently as associate commissioner, is ambulance service and EMS is a topic all the time. This county's unique is that we have a private ambulance that provides those ambulance services from that. The county does have a contract with a licensed vendor, and that is a contract to assure that they will show up when they're dispatched from us, whether they're going all the way down to Randall's or Egypt Mills, out to Oak Ridge, all corners of the county, where they're going. So that has been big. I've had some conversations, but not really serious conversations. We have 7 volunteer fire districts. You asked about fire districts earlier. We have 7 volunteer fire districts that all have different levels of revenue, and it's just tough for them to operate from that. The air tanks that they use are $6,000 and $7,000 a piece from that. And if you have, not name a name, but there's a fire district that their annual budget is $60,000 a year. Another fire district, their budget's around $1 million a year to operate. And so they both have to respond to the same fires, the same EMS calls, the same car accidents, those type things. And so, and do a very good job. It's just amazing how many caring folks we have in our county that are volunteer firemen from that. But does that make sense to somehow bring those districts together? And it's going to take some collaboration and cooperation, not just with the fire district level, but on a county level, to assure the citizens, hey, this is the best thing that we need to do here on that. Another topic that has been I've set several meetings for, and as a police officer I was involved for, is juvenile detention. That's the case. In 2012, our juvenile detention center was closed in Cape Girardeau. And to kind of bring folks up to speed on that, is the juvenile detention center, all the employees at the juvenile courts and at the detention center are state of Missouri employees. In 2011, Governor Nixon cut $5 million from the Office of States Courts Administration's budget. As part of that exercise, there were several detention centers around the state that were closed, not just Cape Girardeau. And by doing that, then they said the numbers didn't, Cape didn't keep enough people, and that if we needed to have a juvenile detained somewhere, Stoddard County or Mississippi County still have beds, and that we can contract with them to take juveniles. That's not convenient at 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning. They're full. Sometimes we have to take, it's a state courts. The county just provides the budget for the juvenile office to work, but it actually is under the state courts system. They may have to take them to West Plains or Joplin, and it doesn't work. And so that's been a lot of conversation from that. I don't believe that we'll see the state anytime soon putting, that was $5 million they took out back in the day. Today those numbers are probably $10 million of FTEs to put back boots on the ground.
Are you talking about building a new facility?
And so, what does that look like? And so here we are in an interesting situation because the 32nd Judicial District is also Baltimore County, it's also Perry County and Cape Girardeau County. And so Senate Bill 888 was just signed by the governor last week. And what it does, it allows counties in a circuit to pass a sales tax up to 1% to build, fund, and staff a detention facility. Now, the caveat is that the state's hands off. The counties, because it takes all 3 counties to pass that. Cape Girardeau County citizens wouldn't just pass that.
The other counties would be paying taxes
They'd
too.
They'd have to. I mean, there's no way to do that of that. And so, would it be a 1 cent tax? Probably not. Maybe a quarter cent or an eighth. I haven't done the numbers on what that would be. But then again, what it is the state saying, hey, we're not going to provide you a detention facility, but if you want one yourself, you can build it, fund it, and operate it yourself, and have the voters approve a sales tax that will keep it in escrow and then disperse the money to you to run that. But you'll follow our rules, and it'll be to our specs.
Gotcha. Well, those are some great ideas. Unfortunately, we're starting to run out of time. I want to give you the last word, though. For those who may be listening or watching, and you want to appeal to the voters and explain why they should vote for you, I'll give you your chance here before we wrap things up.
Yeah. So I'd appreciate any support, any questions anybody has from that. I mean, I'm a sitting associate commissioner now, so anytime you can call the office. And find out information. You don't have to just speak to me. You can speak to Commissioner Tracy or Commissioner Downey or any of the elected officials from that. But I'll soon be doing it on the campaign trail, and that information will be out there, and folks will be able to find that if they want more information on my campaign or my platform from that. It's a great place. It's been an unbelievable opportunity to serve the citizens of Cape Girardeau. I mean, growing up, I went to city council meetings to see my Uncle Bob, right? And then I wound up being a city employee, and I wound up having 25 years of service to the city of Cape Girardeau, either as an employee or community service from that. And so I'm not one to do things to put it on my shingle or to put it on my LinkedIn account or to list it somewhere. I mean, I'm here to make this a better place to live. My grandchildren are 7th generation in this county, and I'm very proud of that.
Cool. Well, Charlie, thanks for coming in, and best of luck. And I'm sure we'll have you back in again another time. But
yeah, thank you for the
appreciate
conversation
it.
today.
Yeah, you bet. We're going to wrap things up, everyone. Thanks for tuning in, and until next time, I'm Jeff Cunningham signing